Hey guys, what's going on? I'm here today with my brother Andrew, and the Red Sox are just about halfway through their season. Technically more than halfway because today they played game 82, a depressing 5-2
I was gonna
loss.
say depressing too.
It was pretty depressing. Fitz pitched fine and then the bullpen did bad things. Um, but anyways, now that these guys are halfway through the season, we thought maybe it would be a good idea to rank literally everyone who's played a single game for the Red Sox. I know Red Seat Radio literally posted a video like this earlier today, but I thought maybe we should go through, do our own rankings, see if things come up differently. And we've got ourselves 6 categories here. They're pretty self explanatory. Elite, the best of the best on your team. You've got very good, solid, average, below average. He sucks. Get him out of here. I'm actually going to add one more row. I'm just going to call this row not enough sample size. These are guys that just haven't really played enough to actually, give a good ranking to. So we're going to start off, and first
Oh
one, oh
no.
boy, Raffy Devers. Okay, well, I'm going to say we have to put Raffy in the elite tier.
I mean, there's probably maybe two other people who could be in that category.
I mean, yeah, so let's take a look. If we look at his baseball reference, I mean, obviously, batting run value, he's elite. Ex Woba, very good. You see all this red for slugging, exit velo, barrels, and hard hits. He's still whiffing a lot, but his chase rate really improved this year. He wasn't really going for as many balls out of the zone, and his walk rate was really incredible, which led to now only 393, but before we traded him, that on base was above 405. So I'd say, top two, top three DH in the game, maybe behind Otani. Very deserving of the elite tier, you would say.
I mean, I don't see any other DH in the league to really contest for it besides Otani.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, next off is Narvaez. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not thinking quite elite for Narvaez, but I
Very
go
good.
I go
Yeah.
with very good. And I think here's my rationale. If we're talking position players, I think maybe the threshold for elite is to be top 2 in your position in the AL.
Or even in the NL.
Well,
Yeah,
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 the Sox are an
respectively.
AL
Yeah.
team. And I'd say Narvaez not quite top 2. I think obviously Big Dumper and Alejandro Kirk are probably your top 2 catchers. But
And you're batting
Narvaez,
300.
I mean, yeah, Narvaez has been a really pleasant surprise. Always feels good that we got him from the Yankees because he turned out to be a really good player. If you look at his stats, he's pretty good. His batting is above average, which you love to see for a catcher, but that fielding run value is what really distinguishes him. 97th percentile in blocks above average, 94th in caught stealing, 92nd in framing with a really solid pop time.
Way better
All
than last year. I currently have his stats from last year, and like
Yeah, he
everything, he
showed
was
a
like in the below like the 15th percentile, and now you can see everything's in like the 20 to 30 percentile.
Yeah, but I think even if you listen to Boone talk about him last year, he knew that Narvaez had potential. So it was really great that we traded to get him from the Yankees. And he's turned out to have a breakout season, and he's proven to be our best rookie so far in what is admittedly a pretty stacked, set of rookies we have. So, there's that. Third, Casas. Yeah,
I'd
I'm
say
going to
below.
Hisa. I know you could put him in not enough sample size, but this year he what? I'm gonna look up on Baseball Reference on my laptop right now, and I believe he put up -1 WAR in the month that he played the game. If we take a look at his Baseball Savant page, I'm gonna pull that up right now. You can see pretty bad. His batting run value -4, fielding run value -2. He's not even a great defender, is the thing. Um, and there's just so much blue if you look at this. Like, he's got a good bat speed, and he doesn't chase much, but he's still whiffing a lot. He's still striking out a lot. He's not hitting the ball, hard, even though he's swinging the bat quickly.
Average was down 60 points in the month he played.
Exactly. And so, he's just had a really down year before he got injured. And honestly, I don't know if he's the option at first base moving forward, even if he's healthy for opening day next year. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that we want to go with. But we'll get into that later as we take a look at more players. Next off is Christian Campbell.
He was up last year, right?
No, Campbell is up this year. I remember he made the opening day roster. I hate to do this because I love the kid, but I think he has to go and he sucks this year. And I mean, here's why. You just take one look at his baseball savant, and I know that we've moved him back down to the minor leagues, but everything is blue. I would understand if, he's just batting poorly, but being a solid defender.
Yeah, barrel 5.1. That tells you everything.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the strikeout,
His batting stats are all in blue. I mean, maybe he doesn't chase that much, but he strikes out, he whiffs. He's not hitting the ball hard. He's not getting on base. And his defense has been just about the worst in the league. Fielding run value, -7. Outs above average, first percentile, literally the worst in the league. I really hope he can figure it out in AAA, but right now, very unproductive. Speaking of unproductive, Trevor Story.
Okay,
Where are you putting him?
I mean, probably average. I mean, he's picked it up over the last month. But also, if he backs down, like, it's been 50-50.
So I'm thinking below average. I'm saying we take a look at his Savant page, and then we'll see if we want to move him into below average. So taking a look, I know my brother's got Savant pulled up on his phone. So here's the deal. Batting value, terrible. 7th percentile, really not good. You look at his batting stats, there is a fuck ton of blue here. I mean, among the worst in chase percentage, whiff percentage, K rate, walk rate. You watch a Trevor Story at bat, it is painful how 30%. Much he expands the zone.
But I would say the speed is a big thing.
The speed is a big thing, but the defense is really regressed. That outs above average being -1. I mean, Trevor Story used to be known for his defense. That's a bad example, but let me find a good year.
He was in Colorado.
99th percent. Well, Colorado will affect your batting, but that defense, that's what we want. That's what we needed from him. And, in his Red Sox tenure,
he's been injured a lot.
He's been injured a lot. When he's not injured, he hasn't really come through with the bat. I think for that reason, I think we should move him to below average. What isn't below average is Bregman. I think Bregman's clearly elite.
I mean, I'd probably say very good because he hasn't played in the last month.
I know. So we're talking injuries, but the rule I mentioned earlier with Narvaez, if you're top 2 player at your position in your league, I think you're elite. And I think we can agree that J-Ram's really the only other guy who's up here with Bregman. We get that he's injured, but when he's on the field, he has been absolutely fantastic for us this year. You take a look at Baseball Savant, ignoring the base running value because you've never had Bregman there for his legs. Batting run value has been really good this year. That squared up percentage is really good, full of red. Chase rate is incredible, and the whiff rate, because the Red Sox are a team that strikes out a lot. And when Bregman's here, he makes contact when it's in the zone, and when it's out of the zone, he lays off it.
And there's news from big boy Scott Boras,
his
agent, that he's willing to sign a new contract with the Sox as of the last day.
I think that would make sense to pay him more now that we're not paying Raffy.
And he's batting above league average.
He's been. This is his xWOBA, which has been very good. His expected weighted on base average, but a lot of red. He's batting very well. Fielding hasn't been as good as last year. Not as Gold Glove South, but still above average. I think very clearly elite. He's been your best player when he's been healthy, and the team's really struggled with him on the injured list. Moving on, and this is actually going to be very curious. I'd love to see what you think. Jarren Duran. I think he has to go average.
The speed.
The speed,
unmatched.
The speed is
the oppo has been unmatched also.
Type the wrong thing into the. Let me.
You'll also see there was an article about 2 weeks ago about how much he switched up his swing with his approach. I mean, even though it looks like he's dropped below league average, you can't match the amount of hits he has and where they are.
Right, but the thing that concerns me is he's really regressed from last year. The batting run value still above average, but not where he was at last year. He's 63rd percentile. Last year, this was full of red. The other thing that really concerns me is on the base path, he's still a plus, but he's not as good as he used to be, and his defense really regressed.
I think the team's relying on him a little bit too much to run, because he keeps getting caught stealing second. But I think it's also the team's struggling a lot, and they need someone to score.
The team's struggling, and when Jarren Duran gets going, the whole team gets going. But this fielding value, this is a guy who, if it weren't for Dalton Varsho's elite year in center field, would have won a Gold Glove last year. and now he's -5 outs above average. You can see that he just hasn't been playing left field as comfortably as you'd be expecting or hoping for him to. And it shows he's 8th percentile in outs above average. He's been a disappointment. He's still not below average, but I feel like I can't put him at anything higher than
I mean, if
average.
he picks up what he did last year, he'd probably be third or fourth in MVP voting behind like Bobby Witt and like Judge.
Oh, maybe, but it doesn't look like that's the year we'll get for Durant. And with a lot of teams putting out offers for him at the deadline, we'll see where that goes. And hopefully, either we keep him or we get a pretty darn good deal if we choose to sell him at the deadline. Oh, moving on, Cedon Rafaela. What are you thinking here?
I mean, he still chases too much, so probably below average. But,
Wow, below average. Okay, I'm going to argue very good, and I'm going to pull up the baseball or the baseball savant page to show you why, because I think you will be pleasantly surprised by Cedon Rafaela. First thing, sure, batting run value -2. If you look at his average though, he's batting about 250, which if he's batting 250 and these are his base running and fielding run values, I will be very happy with him. Obviously, the headlines for him as far as batting goes is that chase rate.
the strikeout rate 56%.
He really expands the zone, one of the worst at it, but he does not strike out. He's actually above average when it comes to striking out. He has very good bat to ball skills. He makes very good contact. And in the field, he's a gold glover. Outs above average, 11, 99th percentile. Great arm value and arm strength, and great sprint speed. And he's just a better version of JBJ, who I think you and I could both agree
was an elite fielder.
Hey, Hall, a pretty good player right there.
And I guess he is batting. JBJ was about like 220, and he's batting 250 this year.
So I think Cedon's definitely very... And if you look at his WAR, I mean, how much WAR has Cedon put up this year? He's already put up 2.6 WAR. He's on pace to put up 5 WAR.
And the OPS plus is almost 100.
Yeah, the OPS plus is very slightly below average for one of the best defenders in the league. So I think that it's a very deserved, very good. Abreu, where are you thinking about putting Wilyer Abreu?
He's been on and off the injured list. I mean, I'd probably put him in average.
Average.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking average to solid. I'm going to put him in average now, but we'll take a look at his Savant page and see if that changes everything. Obviously, Abreu got off to a very red-hot start to the year. He's kind of cooled off since then. You look at his stats, they're very middle of the road. Batting run value is actually 6, which is pretty solid, 68th percentile. His base running, 0, not what you have him on the team for. And his fielding run value is 84th percentile. It's above average. You look at his chart, the numbers are good. Good xWOBA, good expected slug, hits the ball kind of hard, gets a lot of barrels on the ball.
And how was he last year compared to that?
Oh, last year I believe, yeah. So last year he was hitting the ball pretty hard, but you can see a lot of the more periphery stats. He was whiffing a lot, he was striking out a lot. His chase, he didn't chase too much. So, I think he's improved a bit behind the plate. Obviously that whiff rate has really improved. His chases are still whatever. If you look at his range, still a Gold Glove candidate. He won the Gold Glove last year as a rookie. He's still pretty good in right field. Obviously, he's got a cannon for an arm. I think he's just an overall well-rounded player.
So solid, yeah.
I think solid. The one comment I could have for him is if he wants to evolve from solid to very good, I think that he needs to step it up against left-handed batting because we will usually play Ref Snyder for him instead. So if he could become a more complete player that could hit both lefties and righties, I think that could help him make the jump to very good.
Or a lot of people on the team.
Yeah, that is true for many players on the team. All right, well, here's an interesting one. Abraham Toro, and I'm curious to see where you want to put Toro.
How many games has he played?
No, he's played a month of games for us, and he's been batting, 290-ish. I'm actually thinking about putting Toro also in the solid tier. He's been
he has about the same stats, yeah.
Yeah, he's been a very pleasant surprise at first base and at third base because we've had him play both. So if you take a look at Toro, I'm actually surprised that the metrics don't favor him that much. Obviously, the fielding hasn't been great, but it's been difficult. He's been splitting time between first and third. The batting run value, 3, which is pretty good. Surprisingly, it doesn't like many of these stats here. He's not hitting the ball hard. He's not getting barrels or hard hits or high, exit velo. But he's getting on base. He has an average of 287. And what I really like is he's not striking out, which is something that this Red Sox team desperately needs. Sure,
12 times today, just in like the first
I
seven
mean,
and
yeah,
a third.
today Kikuchi struck out 12. Just a bad look for the Red Sox behind the plate. And sure, the defensive metrics aren't that great, but
You're
arm
playing
strength
first.
when you're playing first, I mean, when he plays third, it might matter. But I think all told, maybe we can move Toro to average. I think average is
even though
fair
his
for Toro.
catches are pretty incredible off the first base bag every single night.
That is true. Okay, well, moving on. David Hamilton. Just not been a fan of Hamilton this year.
He just keeps getting. I mean, it's not like he even really starts, but when he just gets caught off guard.
You mean on the base path?
Yes.
That's for a man as fast as him. He's been caught stealing 3 or 4 times, which
At least.
his success rate is only about 66 to 70%, which 75 is what you want to aim for. I'm actually going to put him in the he sucks category.
He doesn't get enough at bats. Like if he were hitting like 200 to 230, I'd be maybe like acceptable because of his speed. But oh my goodness, that is too much blue.
So here's my problem with him. For one, I mean, just looking at the batting average, 178 is terrible.
They're not batting.
The batting run value is terrible. He's not producing behind the plate. Base running value, for a guy with 95th percentile sprint speed, you really should be having more than 1 base running runs at this point. And his fielding is average, but I've never seen this much blue on a chart. I mean, everything. Expected batting average, he's not slugging, he's not hitting the ball hard, he's striking out a lot, he's whiffing, he's chasing, he's not walking. And defensively, he had that ball hit right to him in the Giants game that he dropped.
Oh,
Next batter, Raffy comes up, homers. We lose the game. Those 2 runs were the difference.
If you go down, can you see how he's batting lefties versus righties?
It's a good question. I'm sure you can, but to be honest, I'm kind of bad with this stuff.
Breakdown? I just want to see quickly.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Breakdowns. No, there's just his xWOBA, and as you can see, it's not great. So all around, Hamilton is just a bad player, and he just hasn't been the answer at second base. The Red Sox have not found a second baseman since Pedroia.
I saw a list the other week. I think it was 33 or 34 second basemen since Pedroia. Yeah, that's in 6 years.
And I'd say maybe Christian Arroyo was the best one, and he was not that great.
I'd like to shout out Manny Machado for injury.
Oh, that's a can of worms we're not going to get into. That was many years ago. Well,
sadly.
We'll just move on. Next off, Romy Gonzalez. Where are you putting him?
I mean, he just came back from injury.
He's been back for quite some time.
Like 2 weeks. But
2-3 weeks.
It was a rough injury. I'd probably say average. I mean, he's good enough to be in the lineup every day, and he hasn't moved down a spot like Duran.
Yeah, I'm going to put him at average, but I'm actually going to put him above the other 2 on average because I think he's closer to the solid end of the spectrum. I mean, if you look up, I mistyped his name, but if you look up Romy Gonzalez, batting run value is 5, which is pretty solid. I mean, the guy is batting 300. The stats actually look really good. He's hitting the ball hard. He's barreling the ball. He's got great bat speed.
Above average over the last 100 plate appearances. So since he's came back, he's been raking.
Obviously, like many Red Sox players, he's whiffing a lot, he's chasing a lot, he's striking out a lot, he's not walking much. Fielding, outs above average. Once again, he plays third base, first base. Arm strength doesn't really matter that much. I mean, unless you're throwing to second to try to turn a double play if it's hit to you. His sprint speed's good, he's above average on the base path. The only problem I have is that most of the damage he's done has been against righties, or has been against lefties.
And we don't face enough of those.
We don't face that many lefties, so it's kind of hard for him to get consistent reps. And because of that, I think that's preventing him from being in solid. As for Rob Refsnyder, though, I know we just talked...
He has to be solid.
I know
when he bats like crazy. Even though it's only against lefties. He can still kind of hit righties.
Exactly. I know we just talked about the whole idea of Romy kind of being a platoon player and mainly being used against lefties. And, Refsnyder is the lefty killer. We pretty much only have him face against lefties. But he still plays a pretty important role in helping this team get wins. Batting value 6, which is pretty good. A lot of red here. Still struggles with the whiffs and the Ks. But that walk rate is very good. I mean, it feels like every game he's playing, he's walking at least once, maybe twice.
He's a threat on the bases. Even though it only says 2 stolen bases, I mean, that OPS is up
The
up a
thing
little
about
bit.
his
That
base,
slugging is crazy.
the thing about his base running is he's not fast, but he's a very smart base runner. And the Red Sox have run into a lot of base running errors. Obviously, there's a whole double play with Duran and Toro where Cora got ejected a few days ago.
I mean, I don't think you would keep him if he's 34 and not producing.
Exactly. Restart, he's a good veteran. He's a good leader for the team. And when he's behind the plate, he produces. So I think he's worthy of solid. He's not worthy of solid is Connor Wong. And I think it's time for our first get him out of here. And if we take a look
Do we even have to look? I mean, we know it's going to be all blue.
Oh, it is going
Unless
to be
if it's bat speed
terrible
and he's
for Connor.
swinging too fast.
Alright, well, let's take a look at Connor Wong, our first really, really bad player of the year.
All I know is he's batting like 180.
Oh,
sorry, even worse. My God.
Is a sea of
Oh my
blood.
God, all singles?
So first off, the basic stats. Average 157, god awful.
Oh my.
You know, RBIs aren't on here. He has a single RBI. It is mid-June, and he got his first RBI earlier this week. He's still yet to hit a homer. He's still yet to get a hit with a runner in scoring position. That batting run value is terrible. You look at all these stats, a sea of blue. Sure,
I feel bad for all the pitchers who walked him.
I mean, yeah, you know, it is a free out if you pitch to him, but he's actually taking his walks. What I will say is, defensively speaking, he's actually a bit above average. I mean, you look at him last year. He was not a good defensive catcher.
He was qualified last year.
He was qualified, and you know, this year he's better defensively, but he lost that starting job to Narvaez for a reason. And to be quite honest, this is one of the guys that we gave away Mookie Betts for. Really leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, I don't think we're going to get another chance with Connor Wong. I mean, either we trade him at the deadline or we just release him.
Yeah, we just roll with Narvaez right now. Connor Wong has been really bad this year. Here's another one. I'm interested to see what you say. Marcelo Meyer, where are you putting him?
I think he's been the one that's been raking out of the big three. I mean, but it's tough to get a sample size. I mean, maybe average, because if he plays like 30 more games, we'll get a better sense, because obviously people do good when they get called up, and then people figure them out.
You know, I think I agree with average. I think he has had a large enough sample size by now.
He's still on the prospect list.
He hasn't gotten enough at bats to graduate from, prospect status right now.
It's about 50 games.
Batting value, yeah, he's only been batting 208, but
That's not that bad for being 22 years old.
You know what? He had a really good 3-hit game the other night. Maybe his bat will come around. I have confidence.
4 homers. That's a big thing for this team.
You can see he is striking out. He is whiffing. But he's hitting the ball hard, which he did in the minors, and I think that his contact skills will improve over time. What really stands out to me is his defense. I know he's only 1 on outs above average, but it feels like he's making really good plays at third base.
Every single night.
And mind you, third base isn't his natural position. It's shortstop, and when Bregman comes back, Meyer will probably see more reps at second.
Or even DH.
Or even DH. He'll get more familiar with it. I think he's solid, but I think that he's going to have to start producing more behind the plate if the Sox want to turn their season around.
Watch him hit a 500-foot home run in the big leagues, and we'll see what we'll see.
Oh, that's Roman Anthony that you're thinking of. And
speaking
of, next, I actually do want to put Roman in non sample size.
Even though he's batting like 100. It's rough, but it's been 2 weeks.
But the thing about Roman Anthony, it's only been 2 weeks. I think it's too early to say anything. But these stats are a lot better than it reflects. Sure, his batting run value might be -2, but that's a large part in result to bad luck. He's hitting the ball hard, and he's making good contact. High up. Here's what I like. He's got a phenomenal eye. He walks a lot. He's still striking out a lot, but those
can be worked on.
I think those can be worked on, and it's okay if you're walking as much as he is. He doesn't whiff too much. He's not really,
And he's not chasing.
He's not chasing. He is the one Red Sox player who won't expand the strike zone.
The average exit velocity very high up.
Exactly.
Hard hit isn't really a problem if you're getting a good barrel.
Exactly. He's hitting the ball hard. We would like if he made, if he hit into fewer ground balls, but he's shown a lot of promise. The average will catch up. The average will improve because he's just getting unlucky, I think. And barring that terrible defensive miscue that he made his first game up in the majors against the Rays, he's been solid defensively. His arm's not that strong, but he has 2 outs above average in a pretty small sample size. I think that he'll be a promising player, but for now, I just think we haven't seen enough.
It said 55 plate appearances. That's not enough.
Okay, and who's next? All right, we got our final three batters. Nick Sogard. I'm thinking below average, but I do think in the 30 or so games he played, he was better than Trevor Story.
Yeah.
Now, take a look, and obviously Sogard not with us in the majors anymore because we ended up moving up, Marcelo and Roman Anthony. But Sogard's been average, I guess a bit, under average because he hasn't, played that much, but he batted .262, which was pretty solid.
Only 53.
Surprisingly, his batting run value was above average. You look at these numbers, they're actually pretty solid. He wasn't walking much, but he didn't strike out, he didn't whiff, he didn't chase, which, once again, these are things the Red Sox need to improve on. His expected batting average was actually pretty high, but I just felt like I wasn't that impressed, and at the same time, we only moved Sogard up as a temporary measure, knowing that the big three would eventually make their way to the majors. But I can see the case for putting him in average. You think we should maybe move him to average?
I mean, I think so, but it's also close to. I mean, I think even not enough sample size. 55 plate appearances is not enough.
That's true, but I feel we saw him playing 20 games. I think that's pretty solid. I want to keep him in below average. I think that's fair.
He has a room for improvement.
Next off, and this is a guy who really didn't play many games, but Blake Sabol. What are you thinking for Sabol?
Not enough sample size. I mean, it was 3 games.
We'll put him in not enough sample size, but I think if his stats were bad enough, we can maybe move him to one of the bad tiers.
I think we just moved.
He batted. Oh, here we are. Yeah, 167 with all of this blue, and catcher stats. Okay, I don't know in which world 206 is a good pop time. I think Savant is getting that wrong.
I think the average is 2.
But no, this is absolutely garbage here. I don't even want him in not enough sample size. He sucks. I think we DFA'd him. We DFA'd him for a reason.
Exactly.
Okay, and then a guy who I actually am going to put in not enough sample size is Nate Eden, who's only been in the league for a few days. Granted, he's not like a rookie or anything.
I mean, he's gone and hit in like every single game he's played in.
He has
the speed.
He's batting like 660 right now with a 1440 OPS.
That's better than like most people.
He had that incredible defensive play that potentially saved Crochet a run yesterday, but he's been in 5 games. It just isn't enough of a sample size. And this is going to conclude all of our batters. We are on to this pitching staff.
Oh my god, I can see the list go on and on.
I
can see that's not a good sign.
Well, we're going to get the most obvious pick out of the way with Garrett Crochet, elite, top of elite, best player on the team.
Arguably the best player in the league. Sorry, Skeens.
No, not best player. Arguably the best pitcher in the league. I actually accidentally typed in elite instead of Crochet.
I'm surprised his name didn't pop up.
Yeah, but Crochet, I think definitely a top 3 pitcher in the league. You could argue between him and Skeens.
I haven't seen that much red on any of these lists.
Now, check out all of this red. I mean, pitching run value, 99th percentile. Elite fastball. Breaking run value has been really good. His off-speed pitches have been much better than they were last year. And then you just see a sea of red here. Everything is 75th percentile, higher. Great K rate. Very, throws that fastball hard. Expected ERA below 3.
He almost has as many innings as last year going into the break.
The one thing he struggled with is he has walked more batters. He walked 3 last night.
It's been a big issue this week.
Yeah, but, he gets a few barrels, but all of this is just absolutely elite. He's the first true ace you've had, I'd say, since 2017 or 2018, Chris Sale.
Exactly.
And, the funny thing, if you look at his stats from last year, there is even, ignoring, not throwing great breaking pitches, he was even more in the red.
You could say more, but just look at the innings. 109.
I think that's the thing. We are asking Crochet to do so much for the team this year.
17 games.
And he's just been putting the team on his back.
That's over 6 innings a start.
He's 3rd in the league in ERA right now after Skeens' start today. He's 1st in strikeouts. He is 1st in innings pitched. He's having a workhorse of a year, and he has just looked absolutely phenomenal.
And the 5-pitch combo. That looks very good.
It's a great 5-pitch combo.
Above average on every pitch? Yeah, every single pitch by at least like 2 or 3 miles an hour.
I mean, this has been great. He's thrown his 4-seam with confidence. He's thrown a very good cutter this year. He's put a good 2-seam in the mix when he needs to. He doesn't throw his change much, but it's effective when he does. And he's got a really good sweeper, which he only throws about 10% of the time. But it has been a phenomenal put-out pitch this year. He has generated a lot of swing and miss on it. And, The funny thing is, did you know that his start yesterday was his first start since April where he didn't give up an earned run?
Wow. I mean, the whip kind of shows that.
He's just looked phenomenal though. Only 14 starts this year where he's given up 2 or fewer runs. 14 of 17 starts, he's given up 2 or fewer runs. He's your ace. I know we're spending 3 minutes talking about him, but
it's deserved.
It was just so sad to see him not get the win yesterday after how phenomenally he pitched. He's the best player on your team. Anyways, moving on to the rest of the rotation, which is unfortunately not that great. We have Brian Bayo.
He's like 3-2, 51 strikeouts. I was looking at his line going into Friday's game.
I'm putting him at average. I think if you actually look at Savant, they don't like his stats that much. They have his pitching run value in the negative, not a great fastball, breaking run value is alright, off speed, whatever. He's got a high expected ERA and batting average. He's good at, he throws the fastball relatively hard. He's good at limiting hard contact. Thing that really stands out that OB's talked about on the broadcast a lot is high ground ball rate. He's not letting a lot of line drives go into the outfield. But at the same time, he just hasn't been generating the whiffs and chases that he used to. Hard hit rate, pretty solid. But the walks have been a problem this year. He hasn't struck out that many guys. Chases and whiffs. I would have put him below average if we did this back in May where he could not even go 5 innings. But he's given you what? Back to back to back, like 6+ inning outings where he's looked really solid. I think he's turning the hump. Bayo, I mean, obviously we have Crochet now, but Bayo's another guy that you're expecting to give you 6 innings.
And he's been working with Pedro, so things will be worked on in the offseason and obviously next year.
And hopefully. And the thing that I want him to work on the most is his changeup used to be a very good out pitch. He's been throwing it faster now in the low 90s, and he needs that changeup to be a few ticks slower than that fastball. That's how he gets swings and misses on it.
Can we look at his pitch usage from last year?
Yeah, we'll take a look. Last year he threw that changeup, 4 pitches. He's actually added a 5th pitch to the mix. He has 2 seam, his 4 seam, his sweeper, and his change. He now also throws a cutter and a slider, admittedly not that often, and they've been all right pitches. But I think Bayo has a few things to tinker with, but he's been looking better now. I think he's worthy of solid. You know who's not solid? Walker Buehler. Get him out of here. Dodgers can take him back. He'll probably pop off in the postseason again. But no, Buehler has looked god-awful.
7 walks?
He was shaky in April and May. And then June acceptable. Hit. This month, he's given up more earned runs than innings pitched. And, his last start a few days ago was just the epitome of Walker Buehler's shittiness. In the first inning alone, he hit 2 batters. He walked another 4.
And we were up 3-0 going into when you pitch.
And we got swept in a series in which we scored first in every game. But we'll get to the bullpen losing games later.
Oh no!
But
I don't want to be here for that.
No, you're gonna stay for it. But Buehler, statistically one of the worst pitchers in the league. His fastball is just getting hammered. His
off-speed exit velocity.
Off-speed pitches aren't great. ERA. Currently 6.29, highest qualified ERA in the American League. Been absolutely awful.
At least if you throw 7 pitches, at least have some good ones.
The thing, the walk rate's been bad. I'm surprised he's only 30th percentile because he walked 7 guys a couple nights ago. He's not striking out that many guys. He's not getting whiffs or chases. He's just looked like he just hasn't been the same since his second Tommy John. This isn't your Walker Buehler who pitched 7 scoreless innings to us in the World Series. He's just a terrible pitcher, and to be honest,
something needs to change.
When Dobbins comes off the IL or when Cutter Crawford comes back, I think that's...
They're taking over.
Yeah. And the surprising thing is, Cora confirmed that Buehler's going to get at least 1 more start, so...
Brace yourselves.
Brace yourselves, exactly. It feels like when you put him on the mound, he's going to lose you the game. Next off, Hunter Dobbins.
Average? I mean, he's done his role. Because they've asked so much of him.
He's a rookie. He's done his role. The important thing is he's won 2 games against the Yankees, so he really knows how to be a good Red Sox pitcher.
Especially after that.
I'm going to put him at the top of average after Romy, but he's looked solid. I actually believe him. His baseball savant actually doesn't like him that much. They have him in the negative on pitching run value.
But, I'm sorry, 4-1?
Yeah, 4-1. He's got a run support. 4.10 ERA isn't great, but he's
ground ball rate is really big.
He's been a really good stopgap. He throws the fastball hard. His expected ERA and batting average are middle of the line. He hasn't been striking out many guys, but he also hasn't been walking many guys. He hasn't been giving up many barrels. He's gotten some good ground balls. I think not much more to say, just solid. Lucas Giolito.
I mean, he came back from injury. I mean, I guess he was a little bit shaky at the start, so probably below average. But he's starting to pick it up. But we need to see more consistency for any more improvement.
Yeah, perfect. I'll put him at the top of below average because his past 3 starts have looked really solid. But you're right. Before that, he was just getting hammered, shelled. His stuff wasn't there. His pitching run value actually would make you think he's in the terrible tier. I mean, -5 at 19th percentile.
I mean, expected ERA, not good.
Yeah, expected ERA terrible. Expected batting average terrible. Off-speed pitches have really been his kryptonite. Average exit velocity, he has been getting hit hard. He hasn't been getting that many whiffs. His strikeouts have been whatever. Obviously, he had that great 10K game against the Mariners where, all he did was give up 3 hits in an inning. Then he struck out the side after that.
Oh my God, that was unbelievable. And that was the top of the order.
I know. And striking out the big dumper. Good job, Giolito. I'll give it to you. There's a lot of blue here, though. You get good extension. I like how you make adjustments in between games. You always know what you have to work on. But I do need to see more consistency before I move you out of the below average category.
As long as he's not the one who's giving up the walks.
And I think it's time to return to get him out of here because Tanner Houck's been terrible. I mean, he hasn't pitched in a month and a half.
But there's probably good.
And the reason why is because he's terrible. Regression to the mean was very unkind to him after he had a dominant first half last year. And once again, you just have your third person who's been a part of the Red Sox rotation who's been absolutely horrendous. ERA, 8.04, pretty much giving up a run an inning. He's had 2 separate starts this year of 10 or more earned runs in fewer than 3 innings. I'm pretty sure no other pitcher's had one of those. He's had 2.
Maybe on the Rockies.
His fastballs are bad. His everything's bad. Expected ERA, expected batting average bad. Sure, he gets a lot of ground balls, but most of them find their way into the outfield. Not striking anyone out, not getting whiffs. His walks have been whatever, but that isn't the problem. The problem is everything he throws over the plate is a meatball, and it gets hammered. And to be honest, there's a reason that we haven't seen him pitch in forever. Here's an interesting one. Garrett Whitlock. Where you put Whitlock?
I mean, I think solid's a bit of a stretch because average is so high up there. But, I mean, when you see him come out every few days, it's not enough when this team needs, so much pitching help.
I think, here's the thing. I put him in average. The funny thing is, until he lost the game, he got the loss, I think. What was it? It was either the first game of the series against the Angels or the final game against San Francisco. He was actually 5-0. He did a really good job. He got into that bases loaded jam in that 35 pitch inning he threw in game 1 against the Giants. And then he got a really critical strikeout on Yaz's grandson, Mike Yastrzemski, in, a bases-loaded situation. I'd say I'd put him probably between Toro and Meyer on average.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, obviously, he had a lot of blown saves earlier. Then he kind of found his stuff later on. And he's been a bit shaky more, but we've been having him pitch a lot. If you look at the stats, he's actually pretty favored,
Heavy red.
6 on pitching run value. He's got really good breaking ball stuff. His expected ERA is pretty low. He throws the fastball hard, low expected batting average, gets a lot of whiffs, so swings and misses in the zone. He's been striking guys out, which not a lot of people on the Sox rotation have. Walks have been a problem. Barrels have been a problem. You know what? I might move Whitlock up to solid. I think that's actually... Bottom of solid might not be terrible. Oh boy, Greg Weissert. Kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth because I think, in this series he got a blown... in the past week he's gotten a blown save and a loss. I'm going to put him in average, though. I mean, here's the thing you have to consider with Weissert. I believe he has appeared in more games than any other relief pitcher in the league. He has been demanded so much. The wear and tear is starting to get to him, which you're only halfway...
Yeah.
You're only halfway through the year. Not great. I'd say probably, between Toro and Meyer, I think is pretty fair. If you look at his stuff, I think it's pretty middle of the line. Obviously, he's kind of been our late relief guy, our setup man now that Sladen's been on the injured list. His pitching value, pitching run value is pretty meh. He's got a good fastball. Off-speed stuff is all right. Breaking pitches aren't great. The thing I don't like is they don't expand the zone with him. They don't chase. The whiff rate's whatever. The strikeout rate is fine. He doesn't get that many barrels, but he's had a few, given up home runs in a few key situations. I think back to the home run he gave up to Moore yesterday in a one-run game in the 8th inning, where all you had to do was bridge the gap between your two best pitchers in Crochet and Chapman. The other thing that left a sour taste in my mouth was the meatball he gave to Javi Baez in extra innings. In
that was just
sweep.
sad.
So the thing is, he actually has 4 blown saves on the year.
But 39 games, 36 innings, 33 strikeouts. That's good.
But ERA of 3. He's been solid. I think he's being a bit overworked right now, but he's not a bad reliever by any means. What might be a bad reliever, and I'm very interested to see this because there are like 3 or 4 different tiers you could put this guy. Brennan Bernardino.
He sucks or get him out.
You actually thinking? I'm thinking he's actually pretty out. I know like he hasn't been that good lately, but he was very good at the start of the year. What concerned me is last year through the All-Star break, he had an ERA of 1, and then the second half he was part of the whole bullpen collapse. He finished with an ERA of like 5.5. And it's hard to say because I think he actually has a pretty polarizing.
The ERA's been going up in the last few weeks.
He has a pretty polarizing baseball savant page. When you're looking at the stuff, ERA of 3.34, probably not that great for a reliever.
It's probably gonna go up.
His pitching run value is slightly above average. He's got great off-speed stuff. He can get some swings and misses on that. His expected ERA and expected batting average or whatever.
He's 33.
Fastball velo is low, but he only throws a 2-seamer. He doesn't throw a 4-seam, and he really, he only throws the sinker about a third of the time.
He does. Looks like he does avoid the hard hit a little bit.
Yeah, the thing I like is he gets a lot of ground balls. He avoids hard hits. He's been looking shaky lately, but I still think,
give him some time.
All told, he's a bit average. Who do we have here? Is that who I think? Actually,
looks like Weiss.
Hold on. I actually wrote notes for the guys who I... Okay, after... Oh, wait, this is Justin Wilson. We're being silly right now. Justin Wilson is solid. Yeah, he gave up the walk-off home run yesterday. Don't throw a slider over the heart of the plate. Like, just don't do it.
But other than that, honestly, when you see him come out in the 8th inning, usually there's nothing bad that comes out of him.
Here's the thing. Other than whatever the hell happened last night, Wilson has looked pretty good.
Season.
His ERA is 2.39. It was like 2.07 before last night.
And everything's in the red except for the walk.
Everything. I'm surprised his pitching run value is only 1 because he has a very low expected ERA and expected batting average. He gets whiffs and Ks. Other than last night, he doesn't really give up, many hard hits or barrels. Last night kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
But
he's a solid pitcher. He's solid.
Very good. It's a little bit of a stretch. There's other guys.
I have notes. Okay. Sean Newcomb. He's on the A's now. We traded him. He's below average. I don't even want to pull up his baseball savant page.
It's like a 6 or 7 ERA. Yes.
He was what I would call like a stopgap pitcher. Things were going bad. You needed an innings eater out of the bullpen. You were waving the white flag. You just need to get through the game. You put Newcomb in. He went 0-4 with us. He had an ERA of like 4. Wasn't that great. Below average. He's off the team now. Nothing more to say. Now we have Justin Slayton. I'm going average.
I think so. That's fair. 7th and 8th innings.
I know that you've rode with him as your setup man when he's been healthy. I know he had that really one bad week against Toronto where he had back-to-back blown saves. One of them wasn't his fault. He gave a full pitch count to Vladdy below the zone that Vladdy expanded the zone for. If he's hitting a home run off of that, that's not your fault. You made him expand the zone. That was probably his worst outing of the year. The thing I'm worried about is he doesn't seem particularly close to getting back to being on the roster right now. You actually look, Baseball Savant loves him. His pitching value is great because he has an elite fastball, really great expected ERA and batting average. Doesn't strike out many guys, but he's not giving up many hard hits and barrels.
Faster than most people, so.
And to be honest, I'd move him to the top of average. It was really the fact that I'll put him at the top of average. It was just the fact that all of his bad outings were back-to-back-to-back in that 1 week we played the Blue Jays and Rogers
And the
Center.
guy shouldn't be expected to go out there that many times.
That ruined it. Okay. Oh, Richard Fitz pitched today. He was all right. He only gave you
He
4 innings, gave up 2 runs.
I
I
want to
think
say,
he's
the middle, maybe like part of average.
Yeah, maybe
He goes
that.
5 innings. He usually doesn't give up a run. I mean, even if he does, at most it's 2. The problem is, where do we go after this?
Yeah, his stats aren't that great. His ERA is 4.5 because he had that really bad outing against the Angels back at Fenway where he gave up 6 runs and only went 1 inning.
But heavy pitch combos.
I mean, you look at these things. His expected ERA and batting average really aren't great. The only one good thing here is that he is getting people to expand the zone, but he only struck out 4 over 4 innings today, which wasn't that great. I'm actually going to move him to below average. I think he's better than Giolito,
Yes.
but I really don't like the fact that 3 of your 5 rotation members are currently below average, and fuck off, Walker Buehler. I hate you. Speaking of fuck off, I hate you because you're not a good pitcher. And I feel bad to say it because I love this guy, but Zach Kelly.
It reminds me of the other Zach Kelly. The one who's now, I think, dominating on the Dodgers.
You mean
The
Joe
one-
Kelly?
Yes, Joe Kelly.
Our guy Joe Kelly?
Yeah.
Joe Kelly's a fucking dog. I think he's retired now, though. Kelly, maybe put him at the top if he sucks. You know, the thing that disappointed me is I thought he showed promise last year. Always have that memory of him going into that 1-run game at Yankee Stadium with the bases loaded and no one out and getting out of it unscathed. But then towards the end of last year, he kind of started to show some wear and tear. I think the worst moment was when he gave up that grand slam to Judge in that 3-run game last year. But he was actually pretty solid last year other than walks and barrels. This year he's been bad. ERA of 5.40. Pitching run value below average. He throws the fastball quickly, but you should be expecting a lot of relievers to do that. Hard hit rate's been really good. All the other stats have actually been surprisingly good. I maybe want to move him to below average. Maybe he doesn't suck. He's looked better lately. He looked solid today when he pitched. He pitched like an inning and 2/3 today. We'll put him there. Next off, Luis Guerrero.
I mean, it seems like he's another inning eater.
I think so. I think he's more than that, though. I think Luis Guerrero is solid, and here's why. He had that bad game against the Orioles where he gave up like 2 runs and was maybe the reason we lost. But that was the game where Giolito threw, 7 scoreless innings, and then he gave up 2 in the 8th. He's actually looked pretty solid, though. His ERA is actually only 3.18, which isn't bad. Pitching run value 5. He's got a really good breaking pitch. He still throws the fastball fast. He gets a lot of whiffs, even if he doesn't get that many strikeouts. But he reduces hard hit contact, and his extension isn't great, but extension isn't reflective of whether you're a good or bad pitcher. It really, you
How
can
big
be a
is
great
your
pitcher
idea?
with pretty low extension. I think he's been pretty solid for us this year. You know who hasn't been solid? Liam Hendricks. You think we should get him out of here?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, he hasn't been consistent.
He's been terrible. He's another Phantom IL. Him and Tanner Houck. We just did not want them to play for the team. You pull up his baseball savant. Surprisingly not as bad as you'd think. ERA of nearly 7, though, is terrible. He gets a lot of whiffs, but he doesn't strike out guys. He
14
walks a
games
lot
is
of
enough.
guys.
He's averaging under an inning. That whip is too high.
He's not throwing the fastball quickly at all for a guy who you were hoping to be your closer at the start of the year.
Or even set man. And obviously a 7 ERA is not going to make you a set man or a closer.
Obviously, the worst moment was that game where he gave up the walk-off grand slam to Yelich in extra innings. That was terrible. The guy was, complaining about not getting enough innings. You're pitching poorly. That is why we are not giving you more innings.
Please also don't send him death threats, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
not
was
the best.
that was terrible. Liam Hendricks is a great guy. Don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, he's not a guy that I want to be a member of this bullpen. He hasn't been looking good. And now I have notes on who these Joe Schmoes are at the end of our Josh Winkowski. I didn't even realize that Winkowski pitched for us this year. Here's how I categorize Winkowski: solid in 23, bad last year, even worse this year. His sample size is pretty low, but that's because we saw enough of him and we were like, he's bad. I don't even want to look up his baseball savant. We're moving on. Who the hell is this guy? What do I have? Winkowski after Hendricks, and then Cooper Criswell. Another guy who just has not been great for you this year. I'm going to put him in he sucks as well. I know we had him actually in the rotation for it. He pitched that Sox-Yankees game we went to at Fenway where he looked solid. But this year, No, I don't think he's looked that great. There's a reason he hasn't played many games. There's a reason he's not on, the roster right now. Next off, Nick Birdie. Actually wearing a Yankees hat right here. He's definitely going to go in not enough sample size. He's pitched a few innings for us. He was really elite in AAA. He had like a .5 ERA.
But that means nothing when you get up to the big leagues. You got
he pitched fine. I don't know if he's given up a run yet this year, but he just hasn't pitched enough. He's on the IL right now. We just haven't seen enough from him. And speaking of guys we haven't seen enough, you want to take a guess at who these last three players are?
Can I get the first letter?
You're not going to get it. Robert Stock. That guy.
Okay. No.
Okay. So he's appeared in 2 games. The Sunday night Sox-Yankees game we went to at Fenway. He was the guy who came in at the 9th. He gave the 2-run homer to Judge. He let 2 runners on, and then we pulled him for Chapman, and Chapman got Volpe in 3 pitches. Right? That was him. That was the guy we put in at the 9th.
Yeah.
Actually, no. He's just get him. I think we DFA'd him because he was awful. Get him out of here. He also pitched earlier against the Blue Jays. He looked really bad. Speaking of Michael Fulmer, what if I were to tell you this guy right here won?
Called up by the Sox.
No, what if I were to tell you that over a decade ago he won Rookie of the Year?
In like 06?
It was a long time ago, but
too...
I think he's on the Cubs
Rookie
right now.
Rookie of the Year as a pitcher, that's pretty different.
Well, hey, this stuff is terrible.
Wait, when did he win Rookie of the Year?
You want me to check? I will check this on Baseball Savant for you right now. Hold on. When did Fulmer win Rookie of the Year?
There's no way.
2016. He came in 10th in Cy Young voting and 1st in Rookie of the Year.
They won the World Series.
The Tigers did not win the World Series.
The Tigers.
He's on the Cubs now. He wasn't on the Cubs then. Yeah, now
11-7. How do you win Rookie of the Year, even with a 3 ERA?
Well, look at what Crochet's been doing this year. He's only 7-4, and he's like the 3rd best pitcher in the league.
But his ERA is like 2.
Okay, moving on. Final guy, and then we have our management stuff. Jorge Alcala, traded for him. He had like an ERA of 8 on the Twins. He's looked solid for us. He's only been on the team for like a week.
I think the roughest part is when we keep calling up these guys in trades, they somehow always have a horrible ERA.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that, but let's move on. And now we're finally wrapping up. We have Cora, we have Breslow, we have John Henry, and then we're going to give the Sox as a whole a rating. What are you thinking for Cora this year?
I want to say average. I mean, it's tough with management. Management hasn't been doing the best job. If management was doing better. I mean, Cora doesn't get to make the big decisions. I don't think Cora's like, hey, we should give away Devers. That was from Alpha.
Cora supported the decision, but I'm not sure if he said he supported it because it would be a bad image for him not to, or because he genuinely supported it. I think Cora goes in the middle. He has the potential to be a great manager. I think this year, if you asked me back, we had those handful of games in May where Ramon Vasquez was managing instead of him. First, he had his daughter's college graduation, and then there was the game where he and Bueller both got tossed in the 3rd inning. And we won both of those games, and those are games against a very good Mets team where we needed our bullpen to work for us.
And they gave up no runs.
And they gave up, I think, 1 run over those 2 games. It was a shutout in a 1-run game. And I was like, Cora sucks.
Where's Ramon?
Ramon Vasquez is. He's still, I think, our bench coach or whatever.
I mean, on the list.
Oh, I don't have Ramon Vasquez on here. But, Cora's gotten better lately. I still just... It's been a disappointing year. I want more from him. But I think he is average. And now time for a really interesting one. Craig Breslow.
I think you gotta put him in he sucks. I mean, I wouldn't say get him out of here because, I mean, the team's, I think, 2 below 500 now. So it could be a lot worse.
I think here are the things you have to think about with Breslow. Yes, we think that the Raffy trade was a bad move. But you have to remember, Breslow made a lot of great additions in the offseason. He traded for Carlos Narvaez, who's been one of the best players on our team.
He got Bregman.
He got Bregman in free agency, and, Bregman's been elite so far when he's been healthy. Mind you that the Tigers were offering him much more money in a longer contract, and we managed to swoop in and take him. He traded for Crochet, who has been absolutely phenomenal for you this year. But what I really don't like about Craig Breslow is, 1, lack of transparency, lack of communication, and lack of accountability. You hear his press conferences, he really doesn't give great answers. It always feels like he's beating around the bush and avoiding, answering the hard hitting questions. The communication, he's not very great at communicating. He's not great at making you feel like the decisions he's making are necessarily right for the team. And he's created a very toxic environment in the organization, in the clubhouse.
So much so, I mean, you can't go to Kansas City. I mean, I get the idea.
Well, that was John Henry, but...
Well, they both went out.
I know, they both went out. I just think that Breslow's not doing a lot of things to help his image here. And I think because of that, I'm not going to quite put him in he sucks. But he's on the hot seat. He's at the bottom of below average. Now for John Henry. I think John Henry is average. I blame most of the bad things happening on Breslow. I think Henry and Breslow kind of go as a pair. I think that the more egregious stuff, though, I really want to blame Breslow for. And, obviously John Henry has been here for some very successful Red Sox teams. I know we're not considering that. This is strictly based on 2025. But I think he's going to go at the bottom of average. And now for the ultimate question that we've been belaboring for 55 minutes. Where do we rank the 2025 Red Sox through 82 games?
I want to say below average. I mean, there's such high expectations. I know people are like, around us are like, oh yeah, the Yankees are going to be so good. But you also see all the time, like, the Sox, like, at the start of the season, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, had the Sox with such high expectations. And I think they've been slightly underperforming. I think at this point you would expect 5 or 6 games above 500 at like around like the 60th percentile. If you had to make a guess at the start of the year, we're probably like at the 20-30 percentile since we're below 500 as of right now.
I think there are two things that you have to consider here. One is we're 2 games below 500. Statistically, that puts us in below average, right here. So, below average. We'll put it at the start of below average. Then, as Andrew mentioned, the other thing you have to consider is expectations. This is a team that was expected to compete for a division. This is a team who right now you think should be up there with the New York Yankees, who, mind you, we are 5-1 against, and the Tampa Bay Rays, who we are 4-2 against. We should be up there with them for the division right now.
I mean, I don't think we're out of it, but
we're not out of it, but we are
like we want it.
We are close to out of it right now. We have really, we've really underperformed our expectations. This is only the 4th time in the past 27 years that we've been below 500 through 81 games.
That's actually not that bad.
That's really good. But remember, this is supposed to be the best Sox team we've had since we won it all in 2018. And it just hasn't been. So it is near we suck as a team. I'm going to put it at the bottom. If the Red Sox want to turn this season around, they're going to need to make a lot of things happen. They're going to have to produce at the plate, even without Raffy. We're going to need that bullpen to be well-rested and start pitching better, because I really think that there's a reason we've lost the last 5 games.
Yeah, before last week, I would say the starters were good for 2 straight weeks.
I think
we need that to appear again. The
bullpen is still a problem, and we've lost their last 5 games. I think in all of them, the bullpen had the lead and entered the game ahead or in a tie situation and blew it. And the defense has to improve. I mean, that San Francisco game, Romy had a critical error in Game 3. Hamilton had a critical error in Game 2. The team leads the league in errors. Mind you, the Rockies are a team in the MLB. You should not be behind the Rockies in any statistic. That is a terrible look.
I think we should also mention the fact that, we picked up so many pieces to avoid these errors, like Bregman over Devers, so to say. And even Bregman's still racking up all the errors. It's
just been a disappointing year. The Red Sox suck.
And that's the reality.
Hopefully we can turn things around. All right, thank you for watching, and
we'll be back after 162 before we head to the postseason.
Let's hope we head to the postseason. If I'm not too busy with college, I will make sure to get another video out with this kid right here. But thank you for watching. We enjoyed spending an hour venting about the team.
Because I think that's appropriate.
And I spend a lot more than an hour venting about the team. And we've watched, they played 82 games. We've probably watched in the ballpark of 60 to 70. We've watched the vast majority of those games. We've seen this team. We have a pretty good idea of what their identity is, of who they are.
And as our parents say, the Red Sox at the end of the day always disappoint.
They'll only break your heart, kid. All right, take care, guys. Thank you for watching.